What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. As you see by the title, it's called The Dangers of Gossip. And I know I haven't been here in 3 months. I was going through some things, but I have a video coming out for that. But I want to introduce the people here. Y'all already know Richard. He's been on my channel a long time.
Sir.
Subscribe to him. This is his information right here.
Sir.
And I also got one of my best friends right here.
What's up, y'all? I'm Mike.
Third grade, fourth grade.
Right. Right, it's been a while. But what's up, y'all? I'm Mike. I'll have my channel soon, so
Yes.
when I got my thing situated, y'all see me a lot more.
Yes, so as you see by the title, once again, it's called The Dangers of Gossip. And it's one of those things that a lot of people who are Christian know that gossip is a sin, but yet they still struggle with it or not even know that they're really doing it. And you also do have people too as well who are not men or women of God, but yet they still gossip on the regular, which is very bad. It's one of those things God showed me specifically how I know gossip is wrong, but yet I was still doing it in the sense at my job. There was rumors that, oh, this place is taking over, this place is taking over coming into this way. So we've been for months talking about, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is anybody getting fired? Thank God I ain't getting fired. But it's one of those things is like, why are we constantly feeding into gossip and talking negative and saying like, yeah, this place is maybe running bad and we do need a change, and it's just constant sin.
Right.
Story.
So yeah, I'm just gonna read Proverbs 20:19. It says, a gossip goes around telling secrets, so don't hang around with chatterers. So I think you basically said it. You said it earlier when you were saying, what you said, to not hang around with
Yeah, like you should know your crowd and who you are. They talking? Because it's one of those situations like, if someone, this is true and not true, forgive me, because it's like, these are my brothers, so like I want to relay their message to like their lives to anyone else. But it is in a sense like you could be around people who chat a lot, and then later, just know when they chatting about that person, they chatting about you again over here.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's true. But it also brings me back to, so when Jesus was here, right? He died on the cross. He said it himself, like, I'm gonna resurrect on the third day and everything. So to give you some like biblical context, the Pharisees, they weren't with that. They were like, nah, that's not gonna happen. I'm paraphrasing just to kind of keep the story moving along. But anyways, when he died, he did resurrect, and what ended up happening was the Pharisees, they all started spreading a lie, basically stating that the disciples took him away, just to say like he didn't resurrect, which in reality is the truth, but they wanted to paint a lie so that they don't look bad. So it's a form of, in a way, it's a form of gossip, only because you're spreading false information against somebody else, and it's not true. So now it builds like the wrong narrative for people, or for people to see. A lot of people were impacted by Jesus himself. Yeah. And people were impacted by Jesus himself. So I know there was a lot of people who most likely seeing the miracle and seeing everything definitely believed that he was gonna resurrect. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's the fear factor of like, oh, these are the priests and everybody who basically put Jesus on the cross, whatever they say goes. Yeah. And like that type of mindset is also bad to have, because you're basically saying like, yeah, I'm gonna pay attention to a man, to a man who didn't do anything, rather than a man who actually performed a miracle right in front of my face.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
With gossip, like it builds a narrative that's not true. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful with your friend who you're around with. Even the closest person to you is probably the worst person, or probably the one that's gonna betray you. Like Judas, he was around all the time. He was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? You're my guy, but I'm about to sell you for like 30 just for 30 shekels. Like, whoa, what even is that? So he was just lying to me.
And it's one of those things how you said like they can spread false information and like lie and all that type of stuff, but they also could tell the truth, but yet that's still gossiping. And it's one of those things in a sense. What I mean by that is like, people can do wrong in life, but when you want, let's say someone like, I don't know what's a good example, let's say someone slapped you. Like that's a bad example, but like let's say someone slapped you, and then you're like saying like, yeah, this person slapped me. Yeah, like 10 years ago, this person slapped me, and you just keep constantly everywhere you go, you're bringing it up to other people, bringing it up to people, bringing it up to people, bringing it up to people. It's one of those situations that those people's mistakes or choices, bad decisions at the time, you're constantly bringing up, which can hurt them. In the sense, like they can be a changed person, growing in God, moving forward. Like we all sin and falling short of the glory. Now imagine everybody, as we keep moving forward, it's 2025, 2026, they want to be like, remember that sin you did before?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that sin you did before?
Right.
And they constantly just keep using that against you, bringing it up to people, bringing it up to people. You're kind of like tarnishing like their image. And it's one of those situations, the beauty behind all that is being truthful. Because if you be truthful and you say, yeah, that was me, but that old me has died. You know, we're supposed to die to this flesh daily. And it's one of those situations, this is a daily walk. You can be like, yes, I've learned from those mistakes. I learned from those bad decisions. I learned from those bad choices. And it's one of those situations when people constantly keep trying to talk about that and tarnish. The best way I say to come against gossip is leave it in God's hands. Leave it in God's hands, and when people bring up stuff, just genuinely have that mindset knowing that your heart has changed for God, and those people may be gossiping, but God will deal with them. May not deal with them right now here on this earth, but they will get dealt with. How do you feel about gossip?
Honestly, you know, I'm prepared for this right now, you know. But like, you know, gossip is just wrong all around, honestly. To kind of piggyback off of what Chris was saying, like, I've seen it in person, like at jobs and such that I've had, where gossip can kind of ruin the reputation of a person there, even though that person can be a good person. But the fact that one person is talking bad about that person to everybody else at the job, now everybody thinks, oh, maybe I shouldn't be friends with this person. Maybe I shouldn't talk to him. And that's wrong, you know? So I think just kind of steer clear of it, you know? As you said, leave it in God's hands. Let him handle everything, you know? He's always for us. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, is like, you can just paint, like, you ever know that game? Yeah, my fault, the phone fell. But, you know, we basically summed it up saying that, like, you know, gossip literally is just, you know, a terrible thing, and you shouldn't do it. You know right from wrong, and yet you still choose to do it. And it's one of those situations, the next video I'm posting is going to be, and I'm preaching on it this Sunday, it's like how God died for the dirtiest version of you. And it's one of those situations where God showed me, he said, I knew, since we're talking about the topic gossip, throughout your life you would gossip, and yet he still died for you. And it's one of those situations, there's no excuse though to still gossip and do whatever you want to do. But it's one of those situations that gossip is a sin, but understand that God will forgive you. So I encourage people out there who are struggling with gossip and listening to people who gossip and being around that environment, that God will forgive you and you can change and get right with him. So, you know, Mike's holding the camera now because it fell over there, but Rich is here, and I appreciate you joining once again.
Of course.
And we definitely have more videos coming, but this is just one to come back and say, welcome back. So, I love y'all. I see y'all.
Wait, man, I got final thoughts too.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead, do your thing, man.
All right, so basically, a good way to kill a gossip is by killing the stereotype first. So I will elaborate. In Valley Central, which was our high school at the time, you know, I was the new kid that came in.
Yeah.
This is what I heard everywhere. Everywhere. He's tall. He's light skinned. He got curly hair. He's Dominican. He's a thought. He's definitely a thought. He's either a thought. He has mad girls. He's talking to mad people. You know, he's around. But in reality, that's not true at all. That wasn't my mentality. That wasn't the way I was. You know, I was the opposite. I was to myself a lot, very reserved and quiet, and I only stuck to one girl. So that's just a stereotype that's placed. You know, I mean, it was placed on me at the time. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But with that, you know, spreads rumors. So now when I talk to the next person, they were like, "Oh, I thought you were like this." I'm like, "Nah, that's just not me at all." You know what I'm saying?
Assumptions.
Exactly. Like, I'm a good dude. I'm a good guy. It's just, you know, you gotta get to know me. Also, too, you can't feed into other people's opinions or viewpoints. You gotta be you. You gotta know your identity. You. That way, there's nothing that anybody could say, because when you're you, then the next person's gonna be like, nah, he's not like any other person.
Yeah.
You know, he is who he says that he is. So,
Yeah, because the beauty behind that too is just when like you literally leave it in God's hands, and like he said, like people can say this, oh, he gets all the girls, he's messing around with everyone, but your actions speak louder than those words.
right.
So when they see how you move and see how you operate, they're like, nah, that ain't true. I don't know who started that, but that ain't true. That ain't true. That ain't true. And whether they want to believe it is true, that's on them. God will deal with them. Have fun. Believe what you want to believe. Enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's just like it's just foolish, man. And then one day, everybody's gonna have to give an account for what they've done. So for whoever started that gossip and entertaining those gossips, we all gonna get judged, because I don't want to sit here and lie. I don't want to put sin on everyone saying everyone's gossip, because maybe, I don't know, some people can't talk, but I don't know. Some people entertain it though. Some people gossip. Some people have talk, like sports and Diddy and all these other things. People listen to the gossip and talk about it. But it's one of those things God's shown me we shouldn't do that. And then also don't like those conspiracies. God even says in the scripture, I'll pop it up right here, like, do not give in and entertain those conspiracies. And it's one of those situations, it's like Satan will tempt you to gossip, and God's looking at the end of the day saying, now it's your choice to entertain it and gossip or not to, and do what I say. So make that decision, y'all. I love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next one. Peace.